I'd like to call the January 2015 meeting of the Board of Education to order. First, we'll start with an invocation.
Every day tell at least one person something you like, admire, or appreciate about them. How often do you remember or take the time to tell people how much you like, admire, or appreciate them? For many people, it's not often enough. In fact, when I ask people how often they receive heartfelt compliments from others, I hear answers like, I can't remember the last time I received a compliment, hardly ever, and sadly, I never received them. There are several reasons why we don't vocally let others know about our positive feelings towards them. I've heard excuses like, they don't need to hear that. They already know. And I do admire her, but I'm just too embarrassed to say anything. But when you ask the would-be recipient if he or she enjoys being given genuine compliments and positive feedback, the answer 9 times out of 10 is, I love it. Whether your reason for not giving compliments on a regular basis is not knowing what to say, embarrassment, feeling that other people already know their strengths and don't need to be told, or simply not being in the habit of doing it, it's time for a change. Telling someone something you like, admire, or appreciate about them is a random act of kindness. It takes almost no effort once you get used to it, yet it pays enormous dividends. Many people spend their entire lifetimes wishing that other people would acknowledge them. They feel this especially about their parents, spouses, children, and friends. But even compliments from strangers feel good if they are genuine. Letting someone know how you feel about them also feels good to the person offering the compliment. It's a gesture of loving kindness. It means that your thoughts are geared toward what's right with someone. And when your thoughts are geared in a positive direction, your feelings are peaceful. The other day, I was in a grocery store and witnessed an incredible display of patience. The checkout clerk had just been chewed out by an angry customer, clearly without good cause. Rather than being reactive, the clerk diffused the anger by remaining calm. When it was my turn to pay for my groceries, I said to her, I'm so impressed at the way you handled that customer. She looked at me right in the eye and said, thank you, sir. Do you know you are the first person ever to give me a compliment in this store? It took less than 2 seconds to let her know, yet it was a highlight of her day and of mine. And, of course, that's an excerpt from Don't Sweat the Small Stuff. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Next, Principal Renee Dowdy from the high school will introduce the student who will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Good evening, Chairman Dobney, Board, Superintendent Osmond. I'm going to pay a compliment to Cadet Colonel Jeremiah Fulford, who is a 4th-year senior commander of the Currituck County High School's AFJROTC unit. Cadet Fulford has earned the respect of his teachers and fellow students as being a determined individual who thrives for perfection in all areas. He's an active member of the treasurer of the CCHS Beta Club and is a 4-year letterman of both the men's soccer, basketball, and track teams. He also volunteers numerous service hours throughout our local community. He does all of this while maintaining a 4.12 GPA and is ranked 22nd out of his class of 207. Cadet Fulford adheres to the personal core values of integrity first, service before self, and excellence in all that he pursues. Because of this, he has earned the rank of Eagle Scout, the highest recognition bestowed upon outstanding members of the Boy Scouts of America. A leader, doer, and motivator, Jeremiah has and can do it all.
Wow, wonderful.
Okay. Would you all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? Thank you, Jeremiah. You're an impressive young man. Next, the school spotlight is on the high school. Principal Renee Dowdy.
Once again, good evening. Tonight, joining me to spotlight some of the great things going on at Currituck County High School are some of our faculty members, again, who deserve a little bit of praise for the job they do every day. Tonight, we have joining us Ms. Kim Mulwiney, who's a science teacher in our department. Also joining us from the Media Center are Ms. Tavia Clark, our media specialist, and Ms. Beth O'Brien, her assistant. And then to my left-hand side over here, going to be joining us for the presentation tonight is Miss Anita Rubino. Hopefully, Miss Valerie Person may join us before it's all said and done, as well to join Anita to share some information about a grant that they won that's going to be part of this movement that they're going to share with you. So tonight we're focusing all about the STEAM or STEAM movement. It's now grown from STEM to STEAM movement and the maker movement that we have going on our high school. We now know that as everything becomes digitalized in our kids' lives, that education's no longer just taking place in a classroom. And the shift has gone from giving information to students now being able to explore and learn information on their own through the use of their hands and inquiry-based learning. So they're going to share some exciting things that we've had happen at CCHS and some more things that are yet to come. To kick things off, I'm going to ask Ms. Mulwiney to come up and share with you first.
There's Ms. Person. Good evening. I also want to say that Mr. Fulford is the Science Club's vice president as well. He's a very well-rounded, wonderful student. He's one of my AP chemistry students, and I adore him. I took over sponsoring the Science Club this year, trying to get students a little bit more involved in science and our environment. I mean, we're in Currituck County, and we run from beaches to sound to marsh. We have it all. So one of the first things that, after going to a STEM workshop, I noticed that wildlife and everything around us and environment is involved in STEM. So I got the Science Club to do sea turtle nest sitting down at the beach. We had 43 students go out on a cold night and get to see 16 sea turtles hatch. And they got to educate other people who were coming along the beach about sea turtles, their habitat, how they are hatched, the fact that only 1 in 1,000 will actually return to lay eggs. Then after going along, I decided, Currituck County's goal is not only to teach students to be 21st century skilled students and thinkers, but we need innovators. There are so many STEM jobs that are out there that are not filled because only 19% of our college graduates are actually graduating with STEM degrees. And so there are many jobs that are just sitting out there. This is the engineering design process, and so trying to incorporate this not only within the classroom but outside of the classroom, the Science Club decided that we wanted to incorporate engineering into what they were doing. So we have the Pumpkin Chunkin' Challenge. Students, we open it up to the whole school, not just the Science Club. And I was amazed at how many students came and signed up. We had 7 teams of 3 to 5 students who came up, and I gave them some guidelines. I said, no air cannons this year, although Miss Dowdy was like, I can't wait to see those air cannons. And I said, Miss Dowdy, we're not doing that this year. We're baby stepping. So between trebuchets, catapults, and hand or cranked designs, students did it on their own time, with their own money, their own resources, and they came to different teachers and asked for design help, but it incorporated science, the physics behind how things move, the engineering process, building, math, the angle at which it needed to go, and also technology. A pencil can be technology, but a lot of them went online to figure out what they needed to do. So along with that, and that's Mr. Fulford sitting right there, he was one of the team members, Morris Farm Market actually donated all of their leftover pumpkins, so we didn't have to pay a dime for that. In fact, they gave us hundreds of pumpkins. So it was enough pumpkins that students could practice, and then also for us to be able to do our challenge. And we did that in the practice field of the football field. So what exactly does pumpkin chunkin' have to do with anything? Well, there's mechanical engineers. And those are the ones who actually design the structures and the machines that we use every day. And trying to get students more involved in the engineering process, getting them more geared towards STEM movement, the excitement with these kids was just amazing. In fact, some of them, this was a trebuchet. These students built them so large, and they were only using 3 to 5 pound pumpkins. They were little ones. And so when he pulled up with this, I went, we're not doing huge pumpkins. They got into it. Miss Mulwiney, I've been practicing. It's gone 200 feet, and this was a trebuchet. Our winner was the one that is located on your right. It catapulted. It was a hand cranked machine, and it catapulted at 327 feet.
Wow.
and it was amazing. The students had a great time. We did trophies, and we gave out trophies for sportsmanship, best team presentation, best machine built, and distance. And the kids really did have an awesome time. And so we want to open it up and next year do the second annual, but I've got seniors who are graduating who said, I want to come back and do it again. I've had parents call me. So we're hoping to do it on a Saturday, to have a STEM day, and not only incorporate this, but get together with Missy Swain in the agriculture and do an Ag STEM day, and open it up to the community, and hopefully we can make it a little bit of a fundraiser for our science club so that we can do more. In April, our science club will be going to Kings Dominion and entering a roller coaster design contest. So we're looking forward to that. Thank you so much. I'm going to pass it off to Miss Person and Miss Rubino.
Well, I'm Miss Rubino. This is Miss Person. I teach art at the high school, and Miss Person is English language arts. And over the spring of last year into the summer, we applied for an arts integration grant through the North Carolina Museum of Art called the Big Picture Fellowship. And we received the grant. It's a $5,000 grant, and we are working collaboratively to create curriculum that is STEAM or STREAM infused to science, technology, engineering, rhetoric, art, math. Some of the things that we have been working with is a unit in particular right now with her AP literature students and my AP studio art students, and we call it It's Alive, It's Alive. And we're using Frankenstein as a written text, and we're using artworks from the museum as visual text. And students are addressing Common Core principles as well as essential standards in the visual arts in learning how literacy is developed from visual text as well as written text. We're incorporating a lot of technology into this unit as well, and Valerie has brought an example of e-circuitry where they're going to develop day books and journals and use e-circuitry to highlight certain parts, and I'm going to show you a little bit about augmented reality, which is going to be a factor in our unit.
Tell them about the augmented reality first.
Okay, augmented reality is basically the ability to take a trigger or an image, whether it's of a location or artwork or a name, anything, and create an overlay. And that overlay can be another picture, it can be a link, it can be a video. And I created a quick one using an app called Erasma. And I'm going to show it to you really quick so you can kind of get an idea. This is a collaborative drawing that my children did before we came in. And so the Erasma app will recognize, and you can see it's starting to recognize an image, and then it'll eventually, hopefully, get playing my overlay. There it is. And that's a video overlaid on top of the image of my son working on the picture. So in terms of our project, it doesn't matter how far I pull out, etc. In terms of our project, the applications for augmented reality allow for artists to talk about their work, or it allows for interactive works which engage viewers and the audience. It allows for, when you're talking about written text, for more information, to dig deeper into content than we've ever been able to really dig before, in a way that's going to be engaging for our digital learners. And that's where I'm going to pass it off to.
So part of this augmented reality project that our AP students are currently working on will involve these busts that they're making Frankensteins, they're making their doppelganger after studying that text. So they're putting these things on this thing that's going to represent them that are going to be interactive with the audience. And you might come up and you might see e-circuitry, and also I'll talk to you a little bit about e-circuitry. We're also going to use the e-circuitry this second semester with our sophomores and explore the parallels between writing and art, composing, and even music, looking at rhetorical decisions that, as a composer, that you have to make. And e-circuitry is what we're using to sort of bring that together. So e-circuitry, the first thing I got exposed to was a video by a woman, Jen Kui, that works in the MIT Maker Lab. And she is a writer, she's an artist, she's very involved in the National Writing Project, and she is, of course, an engineer. And so she's looking at, there's a video where she's actually exploring and using e-circuitry to actually illuminate things that she's doing as a writer. And on this video as well, she has another woman that works there with her that is a scientist, and she's using e-circuitry to take her data that she's collecting from tidal pools, that's what she's studying, and using that in her daybook to illuminate her data and moments. And so just briefly, when we say a daybook is, well, it's going in and out. Yeah, this is a very simplistic one that I made this past summer, and so I'm still learning about electricity, so I didn't try to do anything really complicated. But the daybook, made the daybook in a workshop that was sponsored by Tar River Writing Project. And it's a place to record your thinking. So it's got elements of journaling, but it's not strictly a journal. It's got elements of, you can use e-circuitry throughout. It's got elements of scrapbooking. It's a place, so I've been using daybooks with kids the past few years where they literally are recording their thinking constantly, taking notes, that kind of thing. So that particular one that she's showing you, we had to choose an aha moment from our teaching. And I chose a moment from last year from the class that famously named themselves Person's Hen House, because it was almost all girls, and I haven't had many classes like that. And so I was writing about the moment, and then what you saw on the right, I had to illustrate that, and then I had to think about what I wanted to illuminate, literally and figuratively, that aha moment, and that's what that is. And so literally when we made these daybooks, we put the coin batteries in the back, and we used conductive thread and ribbon to make a bookmark using alligator clips and the copper wire, and then so I could do this on several pages and move my alligator clips. So that's what we're wanting to do with our sophomores as we explore these parallels. And the cool thing to me is, if you're familiar with Daniel Pinker's research, The Whole Mind, it's really bringing the STEM, and that's what she mentioned, stream, that's the newest version of it, the rhetoric, together, because as his research is showing, the people that are going to be successful are the people that are going to be able to operate out of both the left brain and the right brain. It's a blend of both. It's no longer this, you're either right brain or left brain. It's all, the whole mind. So that's what, in an essence, the big picture of what we're doing with the grant money that we got from the North Carolina Museum of Art.
At this time, I'm going to bring Tavia and Beth up, and we're going to talk to you a little bit about one of the other initiatives that we're working with in the high school to target STREAM, which is our maker spaces in the media center.
Okay. All right, so before Christmas break, we decided that we were going to have a makerspace kickoff in the library. This is something that we've been wanting to do for a while. You know, Beth and I, we try to do lots of fun things for the kids, get them involved during Power Hour, because we're lucky that we have that block of time during our day where we have a little bit of, you know, we can do some different things with our kids. So we partnered up with Anita, and we decided to have a makerspace kickoff. So a makerspace, just to briefly let you know what this is, it's part of the maker movement. It's really a creative, do-it-yourself or DIY space where people can gather to create, invent, and learn. It makes a meaningful and relevant differentiated learning environment because the kids are kind of directing their own learning with the materials that we've provided for them. And when you find a makerspace in a library, a lot of times there are things like 3D printers, there's different software, electronics, robotics, tools, crafts, hardware, supplies, things of that nature. Just anything that we can get together for them to make and create some type of product. So with the makerspace in our library, there are three main things that we wanted to do, especially with each station in our kickoff. Each station, we wanted to pose a challenge. Not necessarily give them a list of directions or step-by-steps, this is how you do it, but we wanted to pose a challenge for them. We wanted to provide them the space, materials, and time to work out this challenge, and provide them opportunities to test and show off their creations. And for us, it was really important to note that whatever they're creating, it could be a product or it might be an actual experience, because sometimes they're so busy with the creating that they don't actually get to the product because they only had an hour. So for some of the groups that couldn't actually get the whole product done in an hour, it was more about that experience that they had. Do you want to talk about the stations?
We made a theme because it was right before Christmas, so we had a Christmas theme, so everything tied in somehow or another. We had 10 stations, and like one of them was they had to complete a simple circuit, and it was called Make Rudolph's Nose Light Up. And they had to have a snowball fight, one station, and that was to make a catapult to catapult cotton balls. We had a redesign, a T-shirt, and they had old T-shirts, and they had 8 different things, and no sewing involved, only scissors, and we actually had them wearing these things going out of the library. Ms. Rubino did a finger crocheting thing, and they made a scarf in 1 hour and walked out wearing a scarf. We had some stations that was more difficult than others. The origami station, we thought they might get bored. They made origami for 1 solid hour and never batted an eye.
Yeah, they were really into it. We did programming and coding. We have a RoboQuad robot in the library, and so they actually have to program the robot to do different things, and so they made a maze and they were trying to make it go through the maze. And we also use coding.org. It's a website. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that, but we had our kids, they were actually doing coding during that hour, 100% engagement, an hour straight. They didn't leave those computers. They were really into it because it kind of makes it like a game, and they're learning Java and JavaScript and all kinds of different things. We did stop motion animation and green screen technology as well, and those were more about kind of the experience because they weren't able to finish their product in an hour, but they had so much fun trying to do it, and they were using iPads and things to do that. Okay, so this is an example of sort of what we put at the stations. Like I said, we didn't really give them a direction sheet or a step-by-step. This is how you make a rubber band car. And this one was a Santa sleigh challenge. They had to make a rubber band car. Then they had to put presents in his sleigh, which were Hershey Kisses, and then race them to see who could get Santa's sleigh to the house the quickest with the most presents. But we gave them pictures. We gave them some directions for make a prototype, test it, etc. Because we wanted to see what they would do. And they blew our minds because they were taken and saying, oh, I'm not just going to make one of those. I'm going to take it and make all 3 of them in one. So it was really interesting. This was a thing that we put in the simple circuit station just so they could kind of see what the idea of a simple circuit was, and they were going crazy with that. They were doing the light bulb only lit up a tiny bit. They didn't like that, so they had to add 5 more batteries taped together to make it light up more. So it was nice because they were able to test. And then we just have some pictures of the different stations. This is simple circuit, rubber band cars, the origami and the coding, the stop motion animation and the T-shirts, the hand crocheting, there's Mr. Bino, and the catapult. Do you want to tell them about the catapult?
Oh, Trey Ray was the only one in his, real name, Trey Ray, was the only one in his station, and we thought he would get bored and go find a friend. And he made a catapult, and it kind of was lackluster, just kind of went, choo. And he said, oh, I can do better than that. And in about 20 minutes, he had a 3-spoon catapult that was shooting about 10 foot across the thing because he made one that wasn't successful, and he redesigned and was successful. And he never left the station. He worked by himself the whole time.
He took his unsuccessful one and turned it into 3 catapults in one. And he's shooting these cotton balls or going 10 feet across the library. I mean, they're just flying everywhere. And I'm like, Trey, what did you do? And he was like, I fixed it. And I'm like, okay, yeah, you fixed it. Okay, and so I wanted to share this because I thought that this was really interesting. We gave the kids, as they were leaving, we gave them a little feedback form because we wanted to make sure that we got information from them because we want to do this every month. And so some of the skills that they told us that they learned, and we didn't give them a checkoff list. These were just out of their head. They just wrote them down. They said that they utilized skills of meeting new people. They tried new ideas, creativity, building and thinking, concentrating, patience, marketing, hands-on skills, problem solving. They were able to improvise. They used teamwork and collaboration. So those are just things that came out of their minds that they used. And I mean, they literally were only there for an hour. Okay, I just thought that was really interesting that those were things that they thought that they learned. Do you want to talk about this?
Yeah. The direction we want to take this as far as continuing development and part of getting that feedback is to kind of track student interests and continue. We're going to continue this as a monthly endeavor. We have an Alice in Wonderland themed makerspace planned for the first Monday in March. We invite you to please
Did
come
you
out.
say Alice in Wonderland or Allison in Wonderland?
Maybe both. We'll see. So our hopes are to keep engaging and growing this, but eventually we want to reach out to the teachers, have them go back through, look at the data. What objectives do you need to strengthen with your students? Have them team with the Media Center, with this makerspace team, and start bringing them in on other days and jointly design interactive learning challenges that are going to get these kids who normally, like with the catapult, would just give up and walk away and say, okay, this is a chance for them to direct their learning and to strengthen those same objectives. We're also looking as the next phase, purchasing obviously more materials and equipment, pairing with the community, donations, anything we can get to keep strengthening this movement is going to be beneficial for all our students. So.
That's good.
What time is Power Hour?
11:05 to 12:05, and we can get you guys the actual date to make sure that you know when it is, and you're all more than welcome to come and help and make and play. You know, the kids would love that. So
We'll send a flyer out to you folks and
Great.
advertisement so you can come
Thank
see.
you. Jeez. I'm glad that our students have such creative teachers and so many different things that they can do that, you know, expand their mind. So, thank you all very much. I'm going to cover the work session review at the end of the meeting because we still have some young kids in here that I'd like to get to and then get home. Next item, approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, next item, Laura Hughes, fifth grade teacher at Moyock Elementary School.
Good evening. My name is Laura Hughes. I teach fifth grade at Moyock Elementary, and I am accompanied by some pretty awesome fifth graders that just happen to be in my class. I have Leah Gibson, Faith Housen, Shane Newman, Andrew Noser, and Jamie Martini, who's celebrating his 11th birthday today. And
Happy
birthday.
Us.
And will everybody spread out so we can see all of you? And we want to get you on camera for your parents. Yeah. Okay.
Well, I'm here to talk to you a little bit about an initiative that we did in the month of October, and it is called Socktober. And it really started off so randomly and kind of took on a life of its own. But my students really enjoy watching Kid President videos. And we had watched one when the school year had started, just an inspirational, motivational video to start off the school year. And so one day in September, we decided to watch another one of his videos. And in the video, he was talking about an initiative called Socktober, where for the month of October, you donate socks, or you raise socks, and then at the end of the month you donate them to the homeless. And my students saw the video and they said, Mrs. Hughes, we want to do that. It was their idea, and they said, how can we make this happen? And I said, okay, let's do it. And so we started off just within our school. The kids wrote persuasive speeches, and 2 by 2 they went to each class in the school. They said, hey, this is what we want to do. We're here to talk to you about Socktober, and we would love any contributions that you could make. And so we started collecting the socks. I started making calls to some local homeless shelters, and we found out that there was a shelter by the name of Union Mission in Norfolk, and they told us that they served 375 people a night. And that number really stuck with the kids. And they said, Mrs. Hughes, they set that goal, we're going to raise 375 pairs of socks. Well, they went above and beyond in reaching that goal. It was so awesome to see this initiative take off. In the process, they also wrote persuasive letters to whoever they wanted to. It could be a celebrity, it could be a sports team, it could be a musician. And they wrote the letters, we typed them up, and we found an address for each and every person that they wanted to mail those letters to. And that's when the really cool part started, because we started getting socks from not just Dennis Anderson, a local celebrity, but we received letters back from the Seattle Seahawks. We received a letter back from the Boston Red Sox. It just kept getting more and more awesome. And we also decided that because Union Mission was not located in the state of North Carolina or within Currituck County, we wanted to also help our county. And so we also raised 75 pairs of socks for the local Currituck House. When I called them, they told me that the senior citizens were in need of slipper socks so that they wouldn't slip when walking around the facility. And so we were able to collect about 75 pairs of socks for the Currituck House. And our kindergarteners went to perform, I think they sang some songs, and maybe, I can't remember what the reason was that they were going, but they came and they went to the Currituck House themselves at the end of October, and they sang some songs for the residents, and they contributed, or they presented our donation. In addition to the 375 pairs of socks that we raised for the Union Mission, we raised almost another 300 pairs of socks that we were able to donate to for kids shelter in Norfolk. And a couple of the students came with me to make the donations, and we were in the newspaper for that, and it was really a wonderful experience. So in addition, we also incorporated it into our school spirit week. So our guidance counselor helped us advertise that, and for the school spirit week, we had a crazy sock day. And kids were able to come to our room and make sock donations. We graphed the donations the entire time as well. And when they made a donation, they signed a bulletin board that the kids, my fifth graders, had designed. So any student in school that donated socks could sign our bulletin board and receive a sticker from us. But that was another way of just incorporating the whole community and our school community. And it was really awesome. Yeah, I'm really proud of these guys. So. Yep. I was hoping that a few of them might be able to speak about their experience.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. You want to start, Jamie?
My name is Jamie Martini. It felt good that I got to help all these people who needed socks for the winter. And I'd like to thank Miss Hughes for using her own time to help us with this project. That's
Thank you.
Thank you.
Boston Red Sox.
Oh, yeah. And the Red Sox, they were the ones that sent me back, it was like a package. They were just late on the socks, so.
We received it in November, so although they didn't include socks.
Did you keep them? Yeah. Good.
You got a bracelet and a letter and sand or dirt from Fenway Park.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
So, and a letter specifically written to him, thanking him.
And happy birthday.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Just about. Not yet.
No.
Shane?
Shane's like, I got this.
Yeah.
Well, we started it was around the middle of September, and by the end of September on the 31st, or no, October. Well, we had over like 700 pairs of socks, and that day, when it was me and two other classmates, which aren't here today, but when we were counting them, it just started coming and coming and coming. And the graph that we actually built was overfilled. And we had to make another piece of paper to put over top of it. And it was 732 socks. And what Miss Hughes said, we donated 375 to Union Mission. And the slipper socks to, what's it called? The Currituck House, which we did not reach our goal of 50, but we had around 47, which was kind of close. And the rest we donated to the 4 kids shelter. And I thought it was cool that us kids itself were helping other kids who didn't have or gain what we have in our natural lives.
Oh. Great. Faith, would you like to share? We're good? Leah, did you want to say anything? Now or never.
When we started, we were kind of excited to start after we saw the video, everybody was excited, and everybody just said we should do this. And well, when we started, there was we started writing what we should when we started. We were gonna go down to different classes and tell them tell them how we were gonna do this. And we started by writing on pieces of paper what we were gonna say for our speeches. And also after this, during the winter, we got a letter back from one of the homeless shelters, and it was a thank you note for giving the socks, and yeah.
I actually included that note in these packets that you might have received. And it was really neat. We just received this last week, and it was just a reminder thanking the kids, but reminding them of the impact now that the temperatures have dropped and now that it is cold and wet outside, just that, it really was an awesome thing that these fifth graders did, and that the impact, they're really reaping the benefits of that now. So thank you very much.
I'd just like to say that this is an experience you're never going to forget. You'll remember it a long time when you're old. And also that you should be so proud of yourselves, and we are proud of you.
Oh, yeah, you should be very, very proud of yourselves. Before they sit down, could you just have them say their names once again in the microphone?
Andrew Noser, Jamie Martini, Shane Newman, Faith Housand, Leah Gibson.
Once again, thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I found out about this through an article in the newspaper. I don't know if you can get a close-up of this, but it was a very nice article talking about how special our students are. What they did for others. And once again, you ought to be very proud of yourselves. Next item, and they can go if they like, because I know they have school tomorrow. Next item I'm going to go to is the audit report. Pete Catalfamo from Catalfamo & Associate.
Good evening. I'm Pete Catalfamo. Our firm did the finance and compliance audit last year. I've previously met with the board to provide them with required communication, so this evening I'll just do a very brief presentation of the financial report. On pages 9 and 11 of the financial report is our independent auditor's report. It is a report on the financial statements. And on page 10, there's a subsection entitled Opinions. This is our opinion on the financial statements. And last year, the board received an unmodified opinion on the financial statements, which is the highest opinion that the board could achieve. On page 26 of the audit reporting package, the balance sheet for the governmental funds. This shows the assets, liabilities, and fund balances as of June 30, 2014. And last year, or at June 30, 2014, for this coming school year, your general fund, which is your local current expense fund, you've appropriated $780,773 of your fund balances to be used in the current school year. On page 27, which is your statement of revenues, expenditures, and changes in fund balances for the governmental funds, which is essentially an income statement. The third to the last line item on this page, the net change in fund balances, basically shows your profit or loss for the schools for the fiscal year ended June 30, 2014. The first column, which is your local current expense fund, it shows you had a deficit of $1,025,137, which means you had a loss. Last year you used $1 million of your fund balance. And the third to last item on the last column, total governmental funds, it shows your fund balance decreased by $759,213 in all of your governmental funds last year. The last page I need to explain this evening is page 31, which is your statement of revenues, expenditures, and changes in net position for your school food service fund. Again, this is essentially an income statement. The third to the last item is your change in net position, which shows for the year ending June 30, 2014, you had a surplus in your school food service fund of $15,173. Does anybody have any questions?
No, which might mention that this is the first time in a long time we've had a surplus in the school food service, and we're probably one of the few districts in the state that does have a surplus in food service, and we'd just like to thank Angela Rodriguez, our food service director. So thank you, Angela. And we'd also like to thank you for doing the audit. Earlier today, we met and we received a much more in-depth audit report, and we had a chance to ask questions then. And Mr. Catalfamo more than answered our questions, and we appreciate the audit report. And I do need action to accept the audit report. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second? I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Catalfamo.
You're welcome.
Okay. Next item on the agenda, I'm going to go to student board member reports. Katie Traylor and Alexandra Carter.
Good evening, y'all. Sadly, tonight, Mary Kate and Katie were not able to be with us because I know that Katie is very, very busy at COA. I can't even imagine. I really can't. And Mary Kate is at a North Carolina State Carolina game right now. I know, I wish I was there. But I get the pleasure of announcing what Shawboro, Moyock, Elementary, Central, and a couple other schools that I can't read the names right now. Shawboro Elementary School 5th grade students will be working with their teachers, parents, and members of the Sheriff's Department as they get their Derby cars ready for the Derby car race that will be held on Friday, January 30th. And a special thanks to Mr. Vic Ramsey for his support. Their awards day is February 3rd. The kindergarten and 1st grade assembly will be at 12 o'clock. The assembly for grades 2 and 3 will be at 12:45, and the assembly for grades 4 and 5 will be at 1:30. At Moyock Elementary School, their second quarter awards assemblies will be held on February 11th. Mrs. Palamitakis. Okay.
Palamitakis.
Their music teacher will begin working with their 5th grade chorus on Thursday, January 15th. Their science club students are enjoying working on environmental projects. Their authors club is enthusiastically composing original compositions, and their Math 24 and Battle of the Books teams are diligently owning their reading and math skills.
Honing.
Oh. All right. Their reading and math skills in preparation for competitions later in the semester. You'd be surprised I'm a senior. Central Elementary School will have their student recognition ceremony for the 2nd grading period on January 26th. The K2 assembly will begin at 9 a.m. and their assembly for grades 3 through 5 will begin at 9:45. And Griggs Elementary School will be having their awards ceremony on Thursday, January 29th, K through 2 at 12:30 and 3 through 5 at 1:30. Their 5th graders will be participating in the Derby car race January 30th. And now to Currituck County High School. That is the middle school. All right. Thursday, Friday, and this week, the Knights have been taking their exams, and 2nd semester begins next week, so the year is really moving right along. Basketball is deep into their season, and they will be having a home game this Friday, so please come out and support your varsity Knights and your JV Knights. by wearing red to the game. And I know that the ladies' varsity nights will begin at 6, and the men will begin promptly after at 7:30. And I think they're playing Edenton this week.
It's away at Bertie.
Oh. Well, I obviously don't know the schedule. But yes, it's away at Bertie. I'll be there. The wrestling team is doing excellent this season, as they always do. And the track team, they're amazing, beyond amazing. I know a couple of the runners on the team, and I was in a class with one of them, and he was always coming in and telling me, I did this week, and I was just blown away. I don't even like running. But there is a full event calendar on the Currituck County High School website, and I know that that's where a lot of parents get their information from, and I should probably start getting my information from there.
I think that the school website's going to get more than 67,000 hits this coming month. Well, happy New Year. The 14th day of January, Happy New Year. It's still New Year to me. I'm getting into a routine. Let's start off with Jarvisburg Elementary School, which will have their student recognition ceremony for the second grading period on January 30th. The K through 2 assembly will begin at 1:30 p.m. and the assembly for grades 3 through 5 will begin at 2:30 p.m. Knott's Island, their annual KIES Christmas music concert was held on December 16th. All classes did a great job performing their songs, and they had a great turnout from parents at the event, as well as members of the community. The annual Relay for Life Santa Shop was held on December 9th and 10th, and students were able to shop for gifts for their family and pets. I had a cousin who did that, and he got his dad a gift for Christmas, but his dad was very confused when he opened it, and it said, "For my grandpa." But I'm sure they had a great time.
You got a good price.
Yeah, definitely. Volunteers helped the students pick out gifts and wrapped them for the students, but they didn't ask them who they were for, I guess. And overall, the event raised over $1,000, $1,078, and the proceeds went to the American Cancer Society. Knott's Island students read 1,874 books for the night of 1,000 Stars Reading Challenge sponsored by the Whalehead Club of Currituck. MMS had a very eventful Saturday, and I know this because I went on a field trip with some of their students on Saturday, and there were 3 different things going on, and I almost got on the wrong bus. That would have been bad. But they did wonderful in their competitions, starting with the district band, Acacia Sutton, Macy Wall, and Marguerite Butler all qualified for the district band. The following students qualified for the state competition at FBLA Regionals, which is Future Business Leaders of America. Taylor McCarthy placed first in public speaking, Savannah Webb placed second in public speaking, and Leslie Parsley placed third in public speaking. Mackenzie Smithson placed first in Introduction to Business Communications. Angelique Osborne placed first in Exploring Career Decisions. Keelan Hartman placed second in Business Math. Madison Hedrick placed third in Business Math. Colin Coffey and Evan Scully placed second in Cheer, Chant, Rap, Spirit Event. And Zachary Bays placed third in the t-shirt design. Finally, MMS hosted this year's conference cheer competition, and proud to say that MMS finished first for the 3rd straight year. Overall, they had a very eventful and wonderful Saturday. JP Knapp Early College, the senior dues for those graduating are due January 30th. Cap and gown pictures will be taken on February 3rd at JP Knapp, and January 30th will be a Paint Us to Prom activity hosted by Focus 252, which is a local art studio. I believe it's ran by Jason Letourneau, and so they're having an event, and if you'd like to support the prom committee, please come and help, and you'll get to learn how to paint. I participated in one, and I can't paint anything, and it actually looked like a lighthouse. So I'm just saying my mom knew what it was. And then the first semester awards will be held at JP Knapp tomorrow at 2 p.m., I believe. Shawboro Elementary, the grading period ends this Friday, and they have a couple of holidays coming up, so no school for students at that time, which is pretty darn awesome. For Currituck County Middle School, they want to congratulate the cheerleaders, or we want to congratulate the cheerleaders, for winning third place in the AAC Conference Championship Saturday. The Currituck Got Talent Show will be this Thursday, January 15th at 10 in the CCMS Auditorium. And they ask that you please come and see what wonderful talent they have at Currituck Middle School, which I know they have a bunch. And the PTO for CCMS met Tuesday. If anyone is interested in being part of the PTO, please call the school office. Club Day is Friday, January 23rd, and good luck to the Odyssey of the Mind and Science Olympiad team as they prepare for their competitions. So that is all that we have for you today.
Thank you, Katie and Alexandra. You had mentioned Night of 1,000 Stars, and that'd be a good segue into what I'm going to make our next item. Whalehead, Night of 1,000 Stars Reading Challenge, Ray Meggs, Chief Executive Officer, and Ann Sensabaugh, Director of Education.
Ray has had a little injury, so...
I was determined to be here tonight, even if they did push me down the stairs. But I just wanted to be here to thank this board, and especially our superintendent. Just a few short months ago, maybe 16 months ago, was when this nugget of an idea we began discussing with Allison, this Night of 1,000 Stars reading challenge. We had no idea it would be as successful as it was our first year, and we were completely blown out of the water by the success of this past year. So it is so refreshing to work with the children and to work with such a fabulous staff of this school system. Those teachers and media center leaders have sent lovely notes of thank you and bent over backwards to involve their students in more literacy challenge. So I wanted to come and thank you personally for allowing Whalehead to play a role in something that I'm very committed to, and that's education. So thank you. And I'm going to turn it over to the superstar, because we could not do what we're doing with these children in our region without Ann Sensabaugh's leadership. And I'm going to go sit back down. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sir. We truly appreciate your having us, and I can't think of anything that gives me more pleasure than talking about educational programs for children, and more specifically our local children. This year, Whalehead has had the awesome opportunity to partner with Currituck County Schools in a number of ways. In October, we had Currituck County Middle School come to historic Corolla Park, all of Currituck Middle School, and we loved having them. We had the 6th grade one day, the 7th grade one day, and the 8th grade one day. They visited 3 separate times. With each group, we shared the day with the Currituck Beach Lighthouse, the Center for Wildlife Education, and of course, Whalehead. During their visits, they did an environmental project with the Wildlife Center, they climbed the lighthouse, and then they came and visited us. And where we took them behind the scenes, places that the public does not go. We took them to the 4th floor and explained that much of that building, which we now know was built by local labor and local carpenters. We custom tailored the tour for the middle school, and we talked about the culture of the gentleman hunters, the legacy of natural resources and abundant wildlife, and even talked about the friendship of Mr. Joseph Palmer Knapp and Mr. E.C. Knight. The sum total was that we had 3 wonderful days with wonderfully outstanding students. A special thanks on our end is extended to Cindy Walker from Currituck Middle School, who organized this event for the entire school. She did a wonderful job. Later in October, we began the second, but what we hope will always be annual now, Night of 1,000 Stars Reading Challenge, and what a ride it was. As you may remember, last year you had all schools participating, 101 classrooms and just over 2,400 students. During the 2013 challenge, students read 27,954 reading units, or the equivalent of roughly 1.2 million pages. This year, we had 142 classrooms participate, 2,856 students, and they read, drumroll please, 48,658 reading units for approximately just over 2 million pages. One class at Currituck High School truly distinguished themselves in that they read over 100,000 pages by themselves. This is an outstanding achievement, and we could not be more thrilled or more proud of our schools and our students. Finally, we round out our year with the Currituck Students Intern Program. Students are invited to apply to Whalehead for our paid summer internships in December and January. The selection will begin in February. We have simply had outstanding young people apply and fulfill the role of guides at Whalehead for numerous years. This year we will have 2 young women, Emma Tate, who's here tonight, who is now a graduate of Currituck High School and now a student at Western Carolina in Cullowhee, and Samantha Payne, a graduating senior at Currituck High School, returning for their 3rd year as a guide host with us. Both began as interns in high school. This year, they will be senior on our staff, and they will also be mentoring and managing our 2015 high school interns. All of that has been designed in an effort to give our students the broadest exposure possible and hopefully new learning opportunities. Above all, we cannot tell you how much we enjoy our partnership with Currituck County Schools. The teachers and administrators are remarkable. Working with Allison and the personnel at the superintendent's office is a supreme pleasure. And without a doubt, working with students and seeing the youth of Currituck County embrace and learn about their history and love of Whalehead is probably the single most fulfilling aspect of my job. Thanks again for having us, and hats off to Currituck County Schools.
Ray and Ann, we'd just like to thank you for everything you do for our students. We really appreciate it. And hopefully even next year we'll be more successful.
We hope so too, but they need to stop because we got 40,000 lights up in the park this year. And we can't do but so many more.
Can't pay the electric bill, right? Okay. Okay, next item on the agenda, field trip request. Ms. Osmond?
Yes, we had a Currituck County High School basketball tournament that was in Gaston, North Carolina, December 26th and 27th. And the CCHS Beta Convention will be in Greensboro, February 6th and 7th.
Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. Next item, consent agenda. Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Do I have a second? Have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Next, public comment session. We have one person signed up, Mr. David Baldwin, and he would like to mention something on safety in the Currituck Auto Shop. Mr. Baldwin?
Good evening. With such a wonderful bunch of people in front of me, I feel kind of like I should go home. I am part of the advisory committee on the auto shop for Mr. Wooten, part of the NAFTAC program that he has. And we had a meeting over the holidays, and he invited us up to the shop to take a look at the equipment, which we need to do, and the tools and all that. And being there, didn't introduce myself very well. I'm David Baldwin, and I own Precision Auto Center, and I own now the new Renobay in Currituck County, or in Coinjuck, North Carolina. Safety is the biggest thing that I know in my shop, and in both shops that we have. I have the public in one of my shops working on their own cars, and safety is the most demanding thing I've seen. And when I walked into the high school shop, and we still have an in-ground lift that has no safety locks on it except all the way to the top or all the way to the bottom, I was devastated. And I know we have it intended on writing letters to you and going through the chain of command, but like I said, I just can't imagine students working on a lift that is unsafe. And there's some other things in the shop that really need to be taken care of immediately. And I just had to come to you all and ask you to listen to what we had to say. The lift was put in that shop in 1977, and from Mark Wooten said that y'all came, or the school came and and redid the lift, and they put vegetable oil in it to make it go up and down better. I'm a biodiesel guy. I run my diesels off of biodiesel, which is vegetable oil. I've never heard of it in a lift. And when the lift goes up, as it goes up, it jumps. You've got students in there watching this car jump as it goes up the lift. I was devastated with it. So I came to you, or I'm here tonight to beg us to do something, one, about that lift. That lift is really on my mind bad. The second is they have one first aid kit. It's about this big. You got 18 students in the class, 4 in each group. The shop's roughly 45 feet long, and there's no way that that little kit's going to save any students. I have big boxes in my shop, and I don't understand. I mean, I understand that is all that is required by the state for that shop, but I'm an over and above guy. We got to be over and above with students. If I'm over and above with my employees, we have to be that way even more with students. The second thing is the painted lines on the floor. I know they did a remodel in there. They end and stop in wrong places. Students should have a path to go where they're not. If they're not working on a car or in a group that's working on a car, they shouldn't be around the car. There should be a pathway for them to get around the shop, and it's not marked out correctly. And also on the first aid kits, the first aid kit is over here and the sign is over there. If I go in the shop to see something and somebody's hurt, I run to the first aid sign and there's no first aid kit. The signs and the equipment needs to be in the same place. Another thing that we found is exhaust fumes in the building. I know there was one of the exhaust fans was being moved down to a bay that could be used. They're not proper exhaust fans. I work in a shop, and I know I have health problems from exhaust fumes. Of course, I also paint, which I have health problems from that. But the car exhaust running into a shop for a teenage child is not what we need them to be in. They need to have that exhaust out of the building properly. And you have 3 exhaust fans in 4 bays. So you can't have a car in every bay running. It's impossible, which is not safe. The other thing that we found, and I got to put my glasses on so I can read. The fire safety, there's no exit signs between bays 1 and 2. There's a door with no exit sign. And some of the tools that they have are outdated, and I'm saying outdated. They shouldn't even be in the shop. Some of the tools don't have shields and guides. They're using grinders that are not protected. I know Mark is a real thing about having safety glasses on. Even we went through the shop, and he liked to have us wear our glasses through his shop. But that doesn't mean the guy behind us isn't grinding and it comes in and catches you because he's not controlling where the sparks are going. The second thing I'd like to kind of hit on, and I would like to probably write you letters on these more, but the tools in the shop, like I said, are so outdated, they don't even have a battery tester. And that is one of the biggest things that you do with a car. I mean, that's all I've been doing for the last 3 days is testing batteries. They don't have an alternator tester. Some of the tools that we looked at in there belong to Mr. Wooten himself. They personally belong to him, which I don't think that is a proper way to run a shop. One, if one of those tools break, who's going to pay for it? 2, if it breaks and a student gets hurt, who's liable for it? Which I know the school should be, but in my business, I know we were told by our insurance company that the technician that's working on the car can be sued just as good as I can be sued for improper use of the tools or improper use of whatever they do to the car. I wouldn't want Mark Wooten sued for a student getting hurt with one of his tools. I know the school board and the school system would do everything they can, but in today's society, I've learned lawyers will find ways around anything they can to get a person or them an extra dollar. So I would like to see us address some of those tools and some of those issues that they have with that.
Okay, did you say that this came about because of the advisory committee?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We have to go in and do the NAFTEC, or it's NAFTEC, NATEC. Okay, excuse me. We have to go in and do the NATEC. There's a form we have to do that shows that the shop will fit the curriculum of that program, and basically the shop is close. I mean, there was a few small things, but basically the shop is close to passing. But their passing grade is a D. I don't think that our shop should be a D. I think our shop should be an A. I run a B shop because I can't afford to do anything better than a B shop. I mean, I can't afford to spend $20,000, $30,000 on good tools. And I'm not saying that Currituck County can do that either, but I don't think that Currituck County shops should have less tools than I have. And when Currituck County shop comes and borrows some of my tools to do a job, that's how I got on this advisory board. I said, I need to see what you're all doing. If there's anything we can do to help get this program up.
Well, the board would agree with you that student safety is a preeminent issue. We will, definitely check into, what you've mentioned. If there are any other items that the advisory board came up with that need to be addressed, please send them to the board and to Ms. Osmond, and we will definitely have those checked out through Ms. James Davis, who's a CTE coordinator, and Ms. Dowdy, who's a high school principal. Believe me, we want our students to be safe.
We would like to invite you down to take a tour with us and see what you think. And I'm like you, a new lift is, and I did look them up, a new lift is $3,000 to $4,000, what somebody's life worth. Right. And you have full children under that lift.
Yeah, see, we don't know these things unless
That's
someone...
why I came, ma'am.
Yeah, and we appreciate
and
that.
we really appreciate
that is
it.
something
yeah.
And I apologize for just jumping in like this. I know a letter was the way to do it. A chain of command is needed, but unfortunately, I just really thought this needed. The lift problem scares me. Okay. There's no lock. He has a piece of metal that he literally has to slide under the lift for the lock to come down on. Well, while he's under the car and something happens,
yeah.
Now, if we catch the teacher under there, what are the students going to do?
Right.
I thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you for your concern.
Very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And could you make sure that that's checked out? Okay, next item, information items. Our next work session is going to be February 5th at the Professional Learning Center in Knapp at 5. Next Board of Ed meeting, February 5th, right here at 6:30. And lastly, board member comments. Ms. Etheridge?
Just want to wish everyone a Happy New Year. New Year's resolutions are being broken already. But I hope that's not the case with y'all. I just want to let you know we were all able to go to Knott's Island night before last. And we weren't able to take the ferry, so we drove around, and so we got to experience what our children experience on a daily basis. And the meeting went real well. The purpose of the meeting was to see, what the parents and the community wanted as far as transportation, getting their children to and from school, whether it be Currituck Middle School or Moyock Middle. So it was very informative, and I appreciate Darnell's efforts to get that meeting on the agenda, for us, for the board to go over there on Monday. I really do. I know it takes a lot to do that, and I thank you. And that's all. Thank you very much.
Mr. Simmons?
Short and sweet. No comment tonight.
Ms. Kraft?
Yes, I just wanted to say welcome back and a belated Happy New Year. I went to Moyock Elementary School kindergarten play, the Christmas play, which always gives a good start to the holidays, and also visited Currituck Middle and attended the school assembly afternoon chorus concert before Christmas. And I wanted to also thank you for your comments and concerns about our students in the shop class.
Very much. First, I want to say thank you to not only the board for coming all the way over to Knott's Island. I'm used to it because obviously that's where I live, but the administration coming, Amanda Sweet taking her personal time to come over, who's our transportation director. I greatly appreciated that. You know, the parents wanted to be heard, and it was nice to have everybody there for them to be able to be heard. I want to say that if nobody realizes it, if you haven't picked up on it yet, we have some of the most entertaining students on our board. They do a wonderful job, but it's not just on camera they're like that. We get that all the time, so they are a whole lot of fun, and we greatly appreciate them too. And one of them actually drove over to Knott's Island for the meeting also. Miss Katie Traylor joined us. I went to Knott's Island's Christmas play that Alexandra talked about. It was great, very entertaining. The kids enjoyed it. They do a great job over there. I went to Currituck Middle's evening music play or music performance, and not only were the kids fantastic, but I have to say we actually had one of those moments during the evening performance that could have ended up on like TV. We had a military father show up that the family didn't know he was coming home, so there was not a dry eye in the school. And of course, we were all too busy crying apparently to get it on video because I haven't seen. We do have it on video. It was great. Yeah. So that really started. I know for at least the people in the auditorium, not just the family, started that Christmas holiday off great. I mean, that's what the holiday season is all about, and it was phenomenal. The kids did great. It really brought all the families together. It was awesome to see, and whoever that family was, because I didn't get to catch them before all the tears started. I hope they had a wonderful holiday. And again, thank you to the gentleman that came out tonight to let us know about our kids. They're our priority, and we will do everything we can to make sure they're safe. So thank you.
Great. And I had mentioned earlier that I'd cover the topics that we went over in the work session today at 4. We did cover the audit report, school improvement plans from Shawboro, Central, Griggs, Jarvisburg, Moyock, and Currituck High School. Received information on the wellness policy compliance report, the 2015-16 calendar for JP Knapp Early College, information on school performance grades, the district website quality control, had first reading of policy 2200, election of officers and organization of the board. We rescheduled the April board meeting to April 1st. Received information on the JP Knapp Early College recruitment time schedule, and we received a follow-up to the Knott's Island public meeting. And I see Rylan Pointer at the back. Rylan, are you on the advisory board also?
Yes, I am.
Okay, great. I would just like to thank you and Mr. Baldwin for volunteering your time to be on the advisory board. That really helps our community out. Okay, I'm
Tom Hicks. Thank you, Ms.
Thank
Hicks.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and with that, I would like to wish everyone a safe, happy, healthy New Year. Do I have a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.